So I want to talk about this subject because it's on my mind and I wanted to get out there. I'm sure many people talked about it already, and I might have even talked about it in one of my other videos. I could just forgotten because we all know I'm very consistent when it comes to uploading videos, and I remember to upload and make videos all the time. But uh, the topic I want to talk about is the evil alignment in D&D, right? I think it's mishandled quite often. And I know I'm sure some of you are like, oh, talked about this. Oh, this is a boring subject. But, again, is on my mind. Uh, but I think a lot of people take evil and think of like just the backstabbing, like betraying, manipulating people at every turn type of thing, right? Like a lot of people aren't gonna keep the people that are a lot of evil people are gonna keep the ones that are useful close to them for as long as they are useful, right? And like so they're not gonna always be betray them, right? They're always gonna keep them around because well they're useful, right? They're not gonna throw away something that's useful because like that would be because they're selfish, right? Obviously, they're useful and they can help you to get more stuff or do your plans, right? Even I think this is one of the more common sensey type of things, like even a barbarian would think about at some point, right? Because if you think about it, I think a lot of the evil people would see others as like almost as a tool, right? And a barbarian would realize a tool or an object that is useful you would want to keep it because it's useful, right? And I think they would actually just pair that with people, right? I don't know, like I think it's so that they wouldn't, so they would be nice to him, keep him around. They wouldn't just like backstab and manipulate and be douchey, right? All the time. Um, like Asterion, I think for example, I haven't played all through Baldur's Gate 3, but I think from what I've heard, Asterion is evil and he's liked. Like he's a kind of a jerk sometimes, but he's well liked and but he's straight up evil. He's a vampire spawn. And I think if I heard when I heard correctly, a lot of stuff that you do, he actually likes that are just straight up evil or douchey, right? That he likes. So Assyrian is a good example from what I've heard at least of a good evil person because like they're likable, but they're evil. That's the position I think a lot of evil, good evil people would want to be in. Liked enough to do the things that you want and not just go out and just like murder people constantly. Like the only time a good example of this, like going out and killing all the time, are goblins. Goblins are evil and they go out and murder all the time. And lore-wise in D&D, they're constantly murdered. In fact, they're so constantly murdered that I think in their culture, correct me if I'm wrong, right? I think in their culture, they have to like repopulate at an astonishing rate just to counteract the fact of how often they're killed. I think that's written in the lore, right? So that's a good, you know, goblins are stupid and murder all the time, right? And they're evil and whatever, right? Right. So I don't know. I think that's a good example of doing whatever you want is bad when you're evil. I think. And of course, I love goblins. I love little fucks, because they're awesome. I don't know, they're awesome. I love goblins. I mean, but they're not the smartest, and they're evil, and they do whatever they want. So they're murdered all the time. You know. So I think that's a good example of how, like, if you're gonna play an evil character, not to do that. Don't do that. you know. Um, like for example, like I am playing a character right now that is turning out to be evil, right? but he's a barbarian, right? He's actually evil, but he's in a position where like he's obviously the big meat man, and so he's useful, right? And he's rude, he's crude, right? But he's obviously put himself in a position to where he wouldn't be thrown away, because he's the big meat man, right? So and he's the strong boy and he's a big meat man. So they're not obviously not gonna throw him away, right? I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. Um I'd like to know what your thoughts on this. So let me know in the comments below. If you wanted my opinion on other things, please let me know in the comments below. And I might make a video on it. So, but until then, have a good one. Bye bye.